Yo, Still Bills, what's the deal, man? We back. It's top of the week. I gotta go pick up all four of my little heathens, man. I don't feel like doing it, man. I just want to go home, grab my kids and go home and get ready to go to the gym tonight. But come to territory when you're being a parent, man. Better me than anybody else. But Pete Gang, man, I want to talk about something, man. And that's Richard Torres, right? Richard Torres called out Moses Atama. And how do I think a lot of people, was kind of looking at him like, man, you out your motherfucking mind, man. Fuck you mean you calling out Moses Atama, man. Moses Atama do this and that and the third to you and gotta. And this goes back to the eye test shit. Now, granted, we could say that Moses Atama is seeming to show a little bit more promise than that of a Torres. Just everything we see from Moses Atama, it's like, yo, man, this dude looking like he's gonna be the heir apparent, like only 22 years old. He's gonna be running the game for about another, at the bare minimum 10 years. He's gonna be reigning at the top of the division. Nobody has ever thought that highly of Richard Torres. A lot of people think that he's he's too small for the division, but him and Moses Atama, it's not too big of a height differential between the two of them. Because one thing I've noticed, man, a lot of these fighters, and not just fighters, athletes, and not even just athletes, man, just regular people, they want to naturally be taller than what they are. Especially if you like my height. It'd be niggas my height talking about they 5'10". I've legitimately measured myself. I'm right at the 5'8" mark. I'm not no tall guy. But it's people my height is out 5'10", 5'11", whatever the case may be. So when you look at these athletes, only one I've really seen take inches off of their height is like Kevin Durant. That dude is legitimate, 6'11", 7 foot. So a lot of these fighters do that. Deontay Wilder was listed at 6'7". Fury's listed at 6'9". I've heard Dillian White, they say he's 6'4". I've heard he's around 6'2". Andy Ruiz is listed at 6'2". I heard he's around 5'11". I've heard a lot of this. I've heard a lot of these dudes say that shit, man. They take inches off their height. Jarrell Miller is saying, yeah, I'm 6'4". You dig? I'm hearing homeboy like 6'2". And you'll see him standing next to somebody who just one of these motherfuckers is lying. Like, I seen Jarrell Miller and Derek Chisora kind of stand side to side next to each other. They look like they say the same height. Derek Chisora is listed at 6'2". You dig? So I'm like, man, I don't know, gang. I don't know, man. It should be like that, man. But Moses Atama doesn't look like no 6'4" ass nigga. He don't look that tall. Good height nonetheless. And personally, I like it when the heavyweights are a little bit more pocket size. And just how wild is it saying that you're a pocket size fighter when you're 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2"? That's not pocket size. That is really good height, actually, man. Like most people, if you're gonna grow to be 6 foot, that's your average nigga's gonna grow to be. You get somebody there's only one dude from my neighborhood who 6'4". The homie Doughboy, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, everybody, if you growing 6 foot, you'll be 6'1", 6'2". You dig? But no, I take that back. One of the homies said he's grew to be like 6'5". That nigga was tall, bottom nigga. You know what I'm saying? So that when you start getting up there, drag out height like Joshua and just Wilder and Fury, that's irregular height right there, man. But I say that to say, I don't think Moses Atama is as tall as as he's perceived to be, and that's one of the reasons why people look at him and say, yo, man, Richard Torres don't understand. He don't stand a chance because of the height. It's the height and the ceiling that we've seen with Moses Atama. But when you look at Moses Atama, who he's been in there with, Dempsey McKean, stepped on that nigga in one round, stepped on Dillian White in one round, and that's like, those are good wins. Especially when you consider how, just the type of, the type of resume that Dillian White has. This dude he's beat legit opposition. He's beat Derek Chisora. He's beat Joseph Parker. He's beat some reputable fighters, man. He beat Povetkin. He's beat some reputable dudes. So for him to go in there and dismantle that dude in one round like that, man, it was telling about where his potential ceiling is at. But at this point in time, can you put them dude who would you give Vito? Why I keep calling him Vito? Would you give Guido? Which I think Guido will fuck Dillian White up right now, man. I honestly do. I honestly do. I believe that wholeheartedly, man. I believe he'd do the same thing to Dempsey. I don't know if they've ever fought. You know, I don't know Guido's back, his resume like that, but I don't think they've ever come across, cross paths with one another, man. I got him crashing Dempsey McKean. You dig? And for Richard Torres to go in there and have the level of success that he had against him when he's been in there with some good opponents. He's been in there with quality opposition. In particular, F.A. Ajagba. F.A. Ajagba is a top opponent. He's a contender in the division. If not top 10, top 15. And he arguably won that fight. I'm always going to say he won that fight. I don't see how you could have gave F.A. Unless you gave F.A. maximum consideration, there's no way he should have won that fight. And for him, I feel like Guido right now is a better win than that of what's my man name? Dillian White. Tripping. So I'm not even gonna lie. I like a win over Guido more than I like a win over Dillian White. I honestly do. Now, do I think Torres is punching on the level of a Itama? No, I don't. I honestly don't. And I don't think Moses Itama. Why I say Moses Itama? I don't think Torres is 6 foot. I don't think he's 6 foot. He may be 5'10", 5'11". But he uses that to his advantage, man. The way that he was countering, Guido, who's 6'5", with that lead right hook and dipping up under the counter. I thought that was a thing of beauty right there, man. I thought that was a thing of beauty. And when you start fighting miniature size, smaller, shorter heavyweights, he's not gonna. He'll have an easier path to the target. So, and he's calling these dudes out. I love it. You dig? I don't know why they just don't go on ahead and feed Jared Anderson to Richard Torres. I don't know why they just won't do that. I just go on ahead and get it over with. Jared Anderson ain't going nowhere, bro. He's just not. He won't go to. He won't. I think he's put on too much weight to drop down to cruiserweight. His body won't allow him to go to cruiserweight. He's not going to be one of them dudes. We had a lot of hope and aspirations for Jared Anderson. It just ain't gonna happen, man. So just go on ahead and feed him to Richard Torres and let that be the stepping stone to get Richard Torres to where it is that he needs to be. Just go on ahead and get it over with. I don't know why they haven't thought of that yet, but it's just not gonna happen with Jared Anderson, bro. So go ahead and use him as a stepping stone, man. But why not go for it, man? I like that he's calling out. I like that he's calling out Moses Itama, man. I like that he's realizing, man, listen, that's where all the drama is at over there in the UK as far as the heavyweights is concerned. This is where I'm at. Everybody is you look, Caballero, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. They're over the Hooney. He's not a Brit, but he's an Aussie. But that, just God, listen, man, hold on. Some wild shit going on in the interstate. But Hooney, Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clark, all of the reputable names are over there in the UK. Chisora, he's about to have his swan song. Dillian White, all of these fighters are over there in the UK or Europe, in totality, man. Adu Walim, these fighters are over there in the UK and in Europe, man. So he's like, yo, I want to go over there, which is the smart thing to do. Man. I don't know why, just when you get up there in them higher divisions, if you at between light heavyweight and heavyweight, you need to be making accommodations to take your ass over there and run it with them dudes over there. Why? Because that's where all the drama is at. Why sit over here waiting for one of these cats to come over here to you? So for you to do that, I think that right there is, taking initiative to say, I want to go over there. That's the logical thing to do. And the fact that you're calling out the head honcho over there, the dude who's looking to be the heir apparent to the throne over there, I dig it. I dig it. And I don't see a damn thing wrong with that fight. I don't see it as clout chasing. Both of them, I think they both got 13 fights apiece. I don't know how many knockouts they have apiece. But neither one of them have fought the cream of the crop. Dillian White's name on paper looks really good because who he's been in there with and how he was able to go in there and dismantle this dude. But that wasn't the same Dillian White that fought Anthony Joshua. That wasn't the same Dillian White that fought Chisora, or Parker, or Povetkin. Or Rivas. He's not that same guy. He's not that same guy. But it's the name because he has all of these names on his resume. That that looks good on paper. That looks good on paper. So I don't think it's a bigger win. I wouldn't scream from the mountaintop that he did that to Dillian White, because I knew he was gonna go in there and violate Dillian White. I didn't think he'd do it that early, but I was like, he's about to go in there and he's about to crash Dillian White. It's about to be maximum ugly for the champ. But I like a win over Vito. Why keep calling this dude Vito? I like a win over Guido as of now more than I like a win over Dillian White, because Dillian White just hasn't looked as stellar as he once did. He has not been fighting. I mean, shit, since the Fury knockout, he hasn't been fighting the best competition available. He hasn't. Only other heavyweight we have over here that have some sort of significance is Jermaine Franklin. So I like that he's calling out Moses Itama, man, and I'm not mad at that fight. And that's a fight that I think it's a compelling fight, man. I honestly do, and I think there's a lot of qualities with Torres, bro, as a smaller size heavyweight, because he's able to outmaneuver these dudes. He's fast on his feet. He's real fast on his feet. He's a harder target to hit because it's not as much target to hit, to aim for. So you have to be pretty precise with the shots that you're trying to rain down on him, man. You have to be pretty precise. And I think after that Guido fight, he's learned. I don't know, man. We're gonna, we'll see a bit of an uptick in his game after, since that fight. He fights later on this month. So I'm excited to see what Richard Torres does, man, or Ricardo Torres does. I like that he called out Moses Itama, and I like that he called him out in the now, where it's like, bro, he even taking it, just they energy, man. We don't gotta wait till we 30 fights in for us to get in the ring, man. That's what's so dope about the British boxing scene. Let's run that shit right now. We ain't gotta wait. Let's run that shit right now. I dig it. Let's get to it. Man. So I don't see anything wrong with what he's doing. I like that he's doing what he's doing. We're calling these fighters out. Because come on. Because that's just what all fighters should be doing. There's no need to wait to the marination of shit, man. That is something that we should have forgotten about years ago, when y'all realized this ain't gonna work. Why? Because we not Manny and we not Floyd. So let's get out of this energy of marinating the fight. So I dig it that he's on that, man, and I salute him, and I hope they're able to make something shake, man, because I want to see it. I wouldn't mind seeing Richard Torres versus Moses Itama, man. I think that's a dope fight. I do, man. I want to see him mix it up with all them cats, man, and I think he's kind of stagnating his career, just waiting on one. And I don't think it's stagnating his career, because I think they still are trying to build him, because they see, man, we gotta take our time with you, because this ain't the 90s era of heavyweights. This ain't the 80s and the 70s and the 60s era of heavyweights where you was good height for the division. You about eye level with Mike Tyson, and being eye level with Mike Tyson it wasn't endearing going into the 80s and into the 90s. Because he was, shit, man, Frank Bruno 6'3". You know what I'm saying? You about eye level with Mike. So we gotta step you up gradually. You gotta crawl before you walk. So we're gonna take our time with you, and them taking their time with him is just, I think that shit is it's paying good dividends. But I don't want them to think that they gotta put the, he shouldn't have. Go ahead and take the training wheels off, or go ahead and take, not fully. But let's see where you at in the now. And that fight with Guido, I think, was a real good testament to a real good testament to where his potential lies. Because he went in there and clearly beat Guido. Let's get that man in there with someone credible, Brody. Let's get that man in there with someone credible. If Guido can go in there and fight the likes of a F.A. Ajagba, you can put Richard in there with somebody like. Could you put him in there with Bacoli? Could you put him in there with at the very least a Justice Hooney or something like that? At the very least, because Justice Hooney is still green as well. Could you can at least put him in there with a Frazier Clark? Let's get him in there with. If y'all gonna build him as slow as y'all gonna build him, all right, well, cool. Let's let him start knocking off these dudes. Let's let him start knocking off the David Adelaides and the Frazier Clarks and shit like that. Let's get him active a little bit more. Let's get him active. So I'm fucking with Richard Torres, man. I was listening to an interview of his, and he was like, man, I thought that I would be that guy in the ring where if I'm knocking somebody out and before he hits the canvas, I'm there picking him up because I don't want to hurt him. He's like, man, I'm not that dude. You dig? Like I realized the viciousness that that's naturally instilled in me through fighting. He's like, I'm gonna be real. If it's a baby in the ring, I'm gonna steal the shit out the baby. That's just what it is with me, bro. I'm not the passive guy once we get jump across them ropes, my nigga. I'm trying to down something, and I fuck with that. His character just on the outside of the ring contradicts his character on the inside of the ring, because on the outside of the ring, you're like, oh, this is a cool dude right here, man. Somebody that you think you can play with until you see what them hands hit for. But I just like his character. I like his mannerisms in the ring. I like how he maneuvers in the ring, man. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a good fighter. My coach isn't too convinced. He's like, nah, bro, he ain't it. But like I said, him beating Guido the way that he beat Guido, I think that's a good sign. So I don't think that. I think by next year he needs to be fighting legitimate, damn near top 10, top 12. I don't know where Guido lies in the on the world stage. I don't know where he lies on the world stage as of now. I think he I don't know where he lies right now, man. I don't know the top 10 rankings, off the rip. But he needs to be fighting someone on that level, definitely, man. Like you shouldn't regress after fighting a Guido, because we know Guido's a contender. Upward momentum, man. So I hope he fights somebody of note this next year, man. And I'll be waiting for it. And I hope him and Moses actually get in there and run that shit very soon. And that's all I gotta say about it, man. I'll get with y'all later. Y'all stay righteous. Doses.